Happy Monday. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about religion and how that became important to me and why that became important to me. I'm also going to be doing something new. I'm switching up the thumbnail style. Instead of them all of them being the same, I'm going to have the color be based on the topic. So this one, you'll notice the background is going to be purple because it's talking about a religious thing. So any religious video moving forward is going to be purple. So yeah, like I said, this was something I wanted to talk about today. I think it is a really important topic, and I was listening to a podcast the other day that really made me think about this quite a bit. For those of you who don't know, I just recently got baptized a few months ago, and it was just kind of calling on me to make this video and explain why and stuff like that. So kind of get into it here. Basically, like I said, I was listening to a podcast, and I was listening to the guy talking. He was saying, the reality is everyone has a religion, right? So even if you're not Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever it is, you have some kind of God in your life, and that really made me think quite a bit about, what was my quote-unquote God for the past however long, and obviously that changes throughout your life until you find something that you stick to. But I think for a long time, and I think for a lot of people, money and financial gain tends to be, it seems like that's the whole point of life. And I think for a long time I really felt that way too. I would say for the last, 4 to 5 years since I became an adult, that always seemed like the most important thing to me. And there was a lot of times it really left me wondering on if that's actually all there really was to life, or if there was more. I had a really good friend of mine who would always, he'd always text me, call me, talk to me in person about God. He's a very religious guy, one of the best people I know too. So that was really something I would think about. You always model people that you meet throughout your daily life, and I always just thought, he's a great husband, he's a good businessman, he does very well in seemingly every aspect of life, not just financially, but more than that is giving and just kind of doing all the right things. And I feel like you kind of look at that and you're like, well, what's that guy, what does he have that I don't, or what's he doing that I'm not? And it seemed that a common theme, just the more I studied it and more looked into it, I think that seems to be a common theme among the type of man I want to be, is religion is a very important piece of that. Some of the men I look up to the most are religious, and I think it really lets you kind of give your life over to something bigger, and you're not just here to, make money or gain Instagram followers or whatever it is. The reality is, if that really is all life is, there's really no point in being here if there's no bigger purpose or end game or things like that. So I started going to church, and the more I went, there's a whole other aspect to this too, is, obviously I believe in this and I think it's true, and that's a huge step to commit to something like that. I know a lot of people out there make fun of religion all the time and think there's think it's a scam or whatever people think about it. But I was just sitting in church one day, and the pastor was giving a sermon, and it's hard to really explain, I guess, but the feeling you get is, it's very interesting. You kind of feel like you have an experience that you've never had before, and something does a calling, something calls on you to, become a better person. And a lot of pieces just made sense for me at the time. So that's kind of where, that's kind of how I became religious. And, I think religion is super important as far as, like I said, you have to have some kind of, everyone has a God in your life. And you need to pick that God wisely in what you worship and what you do. That's a really big thing that I think society as a whole is missing. I think there's a lot wrong with the world and the way things are going, and people are unhappy, and there's just a lot of things that I think if you put religion in place would probably fix a lot of that. I won't go into too much depth of that in this video, I guess, but I do believe in the traditional values of Christianity, and I think that is, for most people, that's going to be the best way you can possibly live your life. And I kind of reverse engineered this whole thing from, well, what do I want my life to look like? Why does my life not look like that? What's the ideal? Start with what is your ideal life, and kind of pick something to follow that, if you want to have, if a family is important to you and kids are important to you and doing good for your community is important to you, and helping people, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's, religion is going to be the one thing that's a common theme, that tends to be what that's about. Like I said, for a long time, I really just thought everything was about money, and that was the most possibly important thing you could do. And it is super important. Finances are a very big part of our life, because you can figure out a lot with finances, and you can live a better life. And most importantly is, I think you can help a lot of other people that aren't in the same position you are, and really take advantage of it. So I'd say money is more a tool to do good with than I had originally ever thought it was about. It's kind of a tangent here, but I really think that's the main reason I became a Christian, was because I knew there was something bigger, and I know there's an ideal way to live life. And I was kind of looking at the world around me, and there's a lot of music and Hollywood and all kinds of things that just didn't make sense to me, and I needed something to make sense. And like I said, you just have that feeling when you really look into it, and there's a lot of factual evidence to back this up too. But we're all working on faith, right? Whatever religion you are, that's the whole point of Christianity, is faith, and that's the whole point of any religion. Is you have to have a shred of faith, and there's really no concrete answer, 100% yes, 100% no. We're all living and working on faith anyway. Even if you're an atheist, you have faith that it's not true. You can't point to any specific thing and say this is not true. And just same with Christianity and anything else. You can't point to God and say, oh well, he's alive and well. Look at him, there he is. So there's really no, in my mind, there has to be something other than one day something boomed and we all came from nothing, and all these coincidences happen that I'm sitting here today in front of this camera and doing all these things. So to me, that doesn't make a ton of sense, and it never has. I just never really delved into why that is. But yeah, to wrap up this video, I think religion is important, and a lot of people are missing it, and that's part of why society is where it is today. There's a lot of people that are unhappy. There's a lot of people that are confused. There's a lot of wrong teachings in the world that I think people are falling into, and I've fallen into them in the past, and everyone, it's so hard not to fall into that. So that's why religion and Christianity is so important to me. That's the way I want to live my life moving forward, and doing the best that I can. Obviously, we're all sinners, and you can't be a perfect person, but moving forward, I really try my best to be, and I'm learning more every day from this book right here. So if you feel like you're missing something in your life and things just aren't making sense, and you're kind of confused, I think everyone should at least go to church and give it a try with an open mind. For a long time, I didn't have an open mind about that at all, and I think someone was placed in my life to nudge me in that direction. And yeah, that's kind of my story. That's why I think it's important. If anyone else has questions, or if you want to leave a comment below saying you disagree, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation. But yeah, there's a lot more to it than people think, and I do think Christianity and religion is just the best way overall to live your life. So just wanted to make this video today. This is my Monday video. Thanks for anyone who watched, and yeah, hope you guys have a great Monday.